Thank you. I'm David Smith. I'm the Executive Director of the BRF's Entrepreneurial Accelerator Program. And wow, what a great crowd today. We had over 500 RSVPs, okay? And we've gone through multiple iterations of this, okay, to be able to pull this off. But thank you, everybody, for coming. And the other thing is, you know, what's truly impressive in our community right now is that the way you have embraced entrepreneurship. And it's a vital piece of economic development in Louisiana. Looking at the last year, our organization had 1 million web views. We've reached hundreds of thousands of people each month with our message and services. And growing our supporters and stakeholders is growing exponentially. Great things are happening at EAP. This event each year is our opportunity to update stakeholders on EAP's progress, and it's our opportunity to celebrate the real stars. And those stars are our entrepreneurs, and we're going to show you 10 of them today. Thanks for joining us. Thank our special guests, the Honorable Governor of Louisiana, John Bel Edwards. The Honorable Mayor of Shreveport, Adrian Perkins. There are many other elected officials here with us today. I don't want to miss anybody, but if you're an elected official, please stand up. Thank you for coming. I know I saw Yvette, Mario, John, Stephen Jackson. Thank you. Thank you for all today. Thanks to the BRF Volunteer Board of area civic and business leaders who dedicate countless hours of their time to advance the BRF's mission to grow and diversify our economy. Thank you to the 53 NLAF1 Angel Fund 1 members, the 60 new Louisiana Angel Fund 2 investors who support entrepreneurs in North Louisiana with investment. Thank you to our community partners in economic development. It takes a team to do economic development. And I'd be up here all day, and it's a little warm, and I don't want to go through all the alphabet. But thank all of you. Thank you to our community partners, the universities, 7 university partners with EAP. Grambling State University, University of Louisiana Monroe, Louisiana Tech, Northwestern State University, LSU Shreveport, Centenary College, and Bossier Parish Community College. These universities partner with us. They put on every year student-led entrepreneurial pitch competitions, part of what we call the Grand Prix College Business Plan Competition. And they participate in due diligence processes with our Angel Fund, and they're very important to the entrepreneurial ecosystem because they're really teaching our next generation of entrepreneurs. Without a supportive network that we've helped build in this region, entrepreneurships and startups would not succeed, and today's success would not be possible. Finally, thank you to the all-star EAP team. They're out there. They're the ones that do the real work, okay? It's Julie, it's Nick, it's Karen, it's Brett, it's D'Angelo, it's Jared. They're the ones that are doing that hard work with those entrepreneurs every day. Thanks, guys. And I think they're all over here on this side. Thank you. I'll quickly tell you how we got started in EAP, okay? And we started with the City of Shreveport and the Caddo Parish Commission, teaming with the Biomed Research Foundation. We entered into a public-private partnership for over 5 years ago to seed the Entrepreneurial Accelerator Program. We would not be here today without the commitment of the Caddo Parish Commission and the City of Shreveport. And when you look at what we do, every day we provide a suite of services to build sustainable and profitable companies in North Louisiana. Our services cover everything from building a business plan to taking entrepreneurs through in that hard, difficult investment process, banking, winning a grant, getting in front of those tough investors, and getting them to write a check. We're with them the whole way. This economic development activity helps to drive innovation in our region. This has been a great year for EAP and our portfolio companies. As part of this program today, we're going to celebrate 10 new companies that have launched or will be launching, and these companies will join the other 34 companies on the EAP Wall of Entrepreneurial Achievement in the Intertech One lobby. We will also have a few special announcements at the end of the program. It is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Bernard Kimball, Mount Olive Baptist Church pastor and BRF board member, for our invocation. Brother Kimball.
Let us pray. Eternal God, our Father, how we praise you, how we bless your name, how we thank you, God, for this great occasion. And Lord, we thank you for these entrepreneurs who have worked so hard and so diligently, oh God, to make it to this point. And of course, they exercise such a wonderful freedom of entrepreneurship in this great country that we love so dearly. We ask that you will continue to bless the governor of this great state, the mayor of this great city, and certainly the leadership of BRF as we continue to build this region's future. We thank you, God. We praise you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Dr. Kimball. Now it's really my honor to introduce the BRF President and CEO, Dr. John F. George Jr. Dr. George really brought this vision to us. He started it. He drew it on his wall for me when he hired me, and what you see today is what he built. Dr. George.
Thank you, Dave. They asked me to give you a little history about EAP and tell you a little bit about the BRF, because we constantly, even though we have 1 million hits and we have 14,000 people hit us every month, people still don't know what the BRF does. So the EAP is one of 5 divisions of the BRF. And when I came here, one of the things that as a board member, we get to learn what the BRF is doing. And I was on the LSU Board of Supervisors at the same time. It was about 2011. And I got a call from some people at LSU saying, Tony Giordano is trying to raise money for a company that was started at LSU, and he cannot raise any money. And so I called Tony and I said, hi, I'm John George. I'm on the board of LSU. I'm on the board of the BRF. And I would like to help you get in contact with some of the home offices and people that have money to invest in companies like yours. And he said, well, it's funny that you say that. I'm flying to Columbus, Ohio next week to go in front of a group of investors and do a pitch competition of the angel funds that they have in Columbus, Ohio. And so I said, well, do you mind if I tag along? And so I did. And so I flew to Columbus, Ohio, and met Tony up there. And make a long story short, he made his pitch, and he raised $1 million that night in Columbus, Ohio. And it was amazing. And I said, wow, this is how it needs to be done back in Louisiana. How are we going to get this started? And so the only problem is Tony came home and quit his job, and he moved his company to Cleveland, Ohio, and started Theravasc at the Cleveland Clinic. Tony now is the innovation officer at Cleveland Clinic, and he's continuing to do business in Ohio. That's not a great story, but as you know, dark clouds, there's always a silver lining. So that really hacked me off that we lost Tony, because he was a really nice guy, and he actually knew how LSU ran from the inside out. And so in fact, I talked to him today, and I told him I was going to tell this story. Well, that was the impetus to what's taken place since 2011. It's 2019 now. if anybody didn't know. And so, 8 years later, it takes these ideas to come to fruition, and it takes people staying the course no matter what. And so what happened then is another fortuitous thing. Jay Myers and I started trying to raise capital. So he was the development officer of the BRF, and we actually did the very first portfolio company that's not listed on the wall, but it was an oil field service company, which you would expect in Shreveport, Louisiana. They're a dime a dozen, and we did one, and we raised the money for it, and it actually was sold before we even started the EAP process. So we finally realized pretty quick after taking her in the hospital we were not going to have enough time to do this ourselves. But I was going to the LSU football games, and I was sitting in Lod Cook, and I heard a man talking across the table about all the things that I was talking about in Shreveport and how to get this started and how to set up policies and procedures to do it. I actually even hired Alvarez and Marsal, who was running the hospital, to send some of their people down to set up our protocol for the EAP program. And it was pretty involved, and so I was really interested. It was like the guy was bugging my office, and at that time, you remember, I was pretty paranoid about what was going on with the hospital. So I went over and introduced myself to him, and it was John Sibley Butler. And John Sibley Butler was a graduate of LSU, and it turns out he was the director of the IC Squared Institute at the University of Texas. And so he was at the LSU football game because he's a big LSU fan, and he's got a big mouth, so that's why I could hear him across the room. And we hit it off like two peas in a pod about how business should be started and how business should be run. And so I asked him if I could hire him to come up and see if I could get some of our public entities involved in trying to do this startup venture, because it is quite risky to do startups, and it's something that the private sector probably should do and the public should support. And so he said, sure, I'll do that. And so he came up, and we actually were visiting when I called Dave Smith in Washington, D.C., and asked Dave if he would come down here and run this. And Dave and I met when we were trying to stand up the Cyber Innovation Center with General Elder. And Dave worked for Concurrent Technologies Corporation and his company, and he was the promoter who came down and actually brought the visualization of the CIC and how we would, turn Shreveport into, a little Huntsville, Alabama, or one of these other MAGCOMs that have money coming down to support the military. And I was so impressed with what was going on back then. It was so exciting to try to get Cyber Command here. And when it sort of all fell apart and we ended up getting Global Strike Command, Dave went back to Washington, and I said, if I ever get in this position, I'm going to hire you. So that's what I did. And so I brought Dave back down here, and I said, now I know this isn't what you really do, but I really want you to take this on for me because I saw how you ran CTC, and this is going to be right up your alley. And I said, my main focus is to try to get the universities to collaborate because we had a CERT program, and CERT had fallen apart. And so I wanted to get the universities back together because we could have the networking to it's hard to know actually what universities do unless you do business with them. If you do business with them, you get to know what people do. And so that was the premise for Dave coming down, and I think he's done a wonderful job. In fact, that's one of the most things I'm proud of now is that we have all the universities coming to the Angel Fund and participating in real business. So that's how we kind of got started. The Cattle Parish Commission, the City Council took buses with us down to IC Squared Institute, and they sold our politicians on that idea, and we've run with it, and I think we've executed very well. And so that's how the EAP got started, and you can say you heard it from me directly, not on a website hit. The next thing I'm going to tell you is what did we accomplish, and every year we have to go in front of the Caddo Parish Commission and tell them what we did, because we get millage money, and what we do is we spend our private money, and then we get reimbursed by the Caddo Parish Commission to say, yes, you did what you said you did, and we reimburse you. And so we have to go and we present them a budget in the beginning of the year, and at the end of the year we have to actually go and tell them what we do to get reimbursed. And so in the past 5 years, here are the things that we've done. One of the things I'm most impressed with we've done 133 educational events. So Dave and his team have gotten out there and have actually taught our citizens how to invest and how risky it is to invest in startup ventures and how the real policies and procedures should be followed and the disciplines that should be followed to make these kind of investments. So I'm very proud of that, and Dave and his team have done an excellent job. The second thing I'm thankful of, we've hired 9 analysts to do this. One of the things that we do different is we do everything from a financial model first. 3 of our analysts have gone into the community to work for home offices, for individuals, and for businesses. And so that's exactly what we want to accomplish. We want everybody to steal our employees because they're the best employees in the community. And we've lost 3 so far. Now for the stats. Dave and his team have looked at 859 deals. 859 in 5 years. Now, not all those meet the criteria to go on, but that's a lot of looks. You can break that down per month. These guys are busy. And that's not on top of the not-for-profits that I make them look at. So every once in a while, a not-for-profit will come to us that needs help financially, and I bring them in and bump one of our deals so they can do that. And the analysts are never happy when they see me walking in the door. Of those 859, they've supported with grants, service, banks, advice, 260 startups. Of those 260, 70 have actually got funded, okay? So you can see it's a numbers game. Of those 70, we've had 213 jobs created. The annual payroll is $11.7 million. The average is $55,000 a year salary. And the capital that's been invested in those 70 deals is $74 million into our community. And I'm telling you, that's not an economic development multiple. That's direct dollars. And that's a big deal. So give these guys a round of applause. As Dave said, and if John Sibley Butler was here, he would slap me and say, thank the investors, because they're the ones that actually make this happen and take the risk to put it into the deals. Now I have to introduce the Honorable Mayor Adrian Perkins and everything he's been doing to help us keep started.
John just said he had to thank the investors. Well, I'm a politician, so I need to thank the citizens that are here. No, all honesty, you all are the investors in this community. You're the customers in this community. You're the entrepreneurs in this community, and I'm very grateful for you. Just like to thank John once again, BRF President and CEO, and also thank the governor for once again coming to our city. Let's give the governor a round of applause. Most Fridays is my casual Friday, and the governor and I had lunch today, and now I'm up here giving a speech for him, so he's completely annihilated my casual Friday. No, but on a serious note, BRF's knowledge-based approach to economic development is a critical piece of Shreveport's economy and an important part of our healthcare corridor that we're sitting in right now. The city of Shreveport helped seed the Entrepreneur Accelerator program that we've just talked about, along with the commission and some other entities in the city. It gives innovative startups a platform from which to launch, and it diversifies our economy. We are excited to be here today celebrating the success of this program. The EAP has raised $74 million since its inception and created hundreds of jobs. Now, I know the hard struggles of an entrepreneur. I actually had my own startup when I was in graduate school. I've judged multiple startup competitions. Even this year, I've judged the competition at in Austin, Texas at South by Southwest, and in Honolulu, Hawaii at the United States Conference of Mayors annual conference. So I know the hard road that it is for an entrepreneur to get that company started and be successful. And I know if any doubt comes in their mind at all about an area, about a city, or about a region, they'll likely pick up their flag and plant it somewhere else. EAP is helping to establish our region as a place where entrepreneurs can make their ideas a reality, and we're grateful for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. And now I'm going to introduce the governor, and I want to tell you a few things of why we invited the governor up here, because he is pro-business. He has helped us. He comes up here all the time, and I think we should recognize that. He's been very critical ally to the BRF. As you all know, he was helpful, very helpful. In fact, it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't from him, the transition from the BRF to Ochsner's, and I will always be grateful to him for that. On April 5th, he came up here again to celebrate me learning how to drive a trackhoe, and then the CMIT building, and he supported that with a $1 million grant through LED. Governor Edwards has made great strides in economic development in Caddo and Bossier in North Louisiana. He has attracted economic development projects to Caddo Parish, resulting in 4,244 direct and indirect jobs, retaining 2,340 existing jobs, and producing $485 million in new capital. That's economic development. In Bossier, since 2016, Louisiana has attracted economic development projects that have resulted in 551 new direct and indirect jobs and produced $2 million in new capital investment. Other achievements include adding 900 jobs in Bossier Parish at the National Cyber Research Park through General Dynamics Information Technology. In Shreveport, the governor recently announced a Super ATV opening a manufacturing distribution center with 75 direct jobs and $5 million in capital investment. In Minden, Catamaran Solutions has opened a 135,000 square foot industrial fabrication center with cutting edge technology and has resulted in over 300 new direct and indirect jobs. We appreciate Governor Edwards all the time as he come up here, everything he's done for us, and I thank you for coming again. God bless you.
Thank you, Dr. George, and it's great to be up here with you, and David Smith, the ED of the EAP. Thank you for your work, and I always enjoy spending some time with your mayor, Adrian Perkins. But really thank all of you for what you do for this region of our state, for our state, and congratulations to all the entrepreneurs who are going to be recognized. This is an important event. So to those of you here today who've been part of this important success story, congratulations and thank you. I know it hasn't been easy, and I'm grateful for the work that you're doing and the contributions that you're making to this community. I also want to congratulate the BRF itself on the 5 successful years of the Entrepreneurial Accelerator Program. It was a little over 4 years ago that I came up and met with some board members at BRF and Dr. George, and actually was briefed on what was taking place here. And then I see the program today that has all of the entrepreneurs who've been recognized since that time, since 2016. And this is quite an accomplishment. And so I want to thank the BRF, the City of Shreveport, the Caddo Commission for partnering with the startups that really help us to diversify the economy of this region and of the state. And that's incredibly important. They promote job creation. And I also want to thank the investors too, because at the end of the day, without the investors, this is just an idea on a piece of paper somewhere. And it takes the investment to make it happen. I appreciate that more than 210 new jobs have been created in North Louisiana because of the work being done here. Over 99% of Louisiana businesses qualify as small businesses. And small businesses employ over half of all of the people in Louisiana who have a job. So when you hear that small business is the backbone of the community, of the economy, I should say, a lot of times you say, well, that's just talk. No, it's absolutely true. Small businesses are the backbone of the economy. I'm happy to tell you Louisiana is one of only 4 states that have been recognized as having an A+ in small business friendliness all across the country. But as important as small businesses are, starting a business is extremely difficult. And probably more difficult than starting one is keeping one going, keeping those doors open. And so every bit of help that an entrepreneur receives, all of the guidance, all of the expertise, all of the experience that can be brought to bear is incredibly important. And I know that's why the EAP, the informed and experienced investors, are making a world of difference. You know, I'm excited about what's going on in Louisiana. I believe Louisiana is especially well suited right now for welcoming entrepreneurs, and we've made incredible progress over the past few years. Just since January 2016, we've landed more than 165 major economic development projects, bringing in $40 billion of capital to the state of Louisiana, creating more than 36,000 new permanent jobs and retaining another 31,000. And I know we're typically talking about big business there, but all those big businesses have to contract with smaller businesses and engage with local vendors. And so it all makes a big difference. The other part of that is the economy in the state of Louisiana has never been bigger than it is right now. Our GDP is $256 billion. It's never been that high before, and it's growing at a rate that puts us in the top 10 states in the country for growth. And by the way, number 1 in the Southeast United States. As a result of that economic growth, personal income has never been higher than it is right now in Louisiana. Now, if you want to set the conditions for a successful small business, a startup, have the economy be the biggest it's ever been and have the largest amount of personal income in the history of the state. And that's how we can make things happen. And absolutely, thank you. So there's no denying that Louisiana is open for business, and we're ready to welcome more. That's what this program is all about. And I was particularly excited to see just how widespread across the economy these businesses are. I think there's a distillery represented, a bakery represented, somebody who is engaging in aircraft maintenance, and we got a snake catching apparatus. I mean, this is exciting. Probably nothing more exciting to me than the distillery. I just have to share that with you. Look, God bless you. Thank you so much for coming out. Let's keep Louisiana moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you, Mayor. And I know we're an Air Force community, but something a lot of people don't know, there's 3 Army officers on the stage today. All right, go Army. All right. So now what you really came here today, okay, and that's the 10 companies. And like the governor said, I really want you to take note of the many different industries that these companies represent. They're going to come up, they're going to get a quick picture, they're going to line up real quick, and we're going to go through this pretty quick. So Governor, Mayor, if I could get you all right here. All right. First in your lineup, okay, Louder Baking Company. Preston and Sarah Louder, founders. Louder Baking Company makes high-quality baked goods, including king cakes, crafted for individual customers, restaurants, and vendors. And hey, in their first year, they shipped king cakes to 48 states, all right? They've created 21 jobs in Shreveport. Number 2 in your lineup, Act One Health. Gus Bonet, CEO. Real-time telemedicine, providing preventative services, remote monitoring, integrated pharmacy services to chronic care patients. Next, Andrus Arts and Entrepreneurial Center. A real serial entrepreneur, Jim Malsh. A downtown Shreveport hub for creativity, collaboration, and community, which will house an artist co-op, an artist-managed gallery, space for startups, companies, and startup resources. And it's an opportunity zone program and a historic tax credit program. Next, Curb Tech, Dalton Dean, founder and CEO. Another serial entrepreneur. On-demand mobile oil change, routine maintenance, repairs for individual vehicles, equipment, and commercial fleets. Next, Every Man a King Distilling. Andrew Lawson, MD, founder. Lindsay Pennington, MD. Lindsay couldn't be here today, but we also have with him Tony Simpson, standing in for Lindsay. Every Man a King is developing a world-class distillery and entertainment venue in the historic Arlington Hotel building in the heart of downtown Shreveport. Every Man a King is also taking advantage of opportunity zones and historic tax credits. Moneyball DFS, Kayvon Shadar, founder. Moneyball is a new approach to fantasy sports that brings the entertainment of traditional daily fantasy sports to casual and novice players. Eve's Revenge Snake Snare. Chris Romano, CEO, and Chloe Romano, co-founder. Patent pending barrier trap system to deter and trap snakes. Yes, snakes. And my wife's back there, she'll testify to it, it works. Eve's Revenge Snake Snares just announced a contract to be on the shelves in Home Depot and Lowe's. That's big box, people. Paramount Innovation Solutions. Marshall Anschutz, principal investigator. Low-cost, rapid production, virtual reality gaming desktop training for the Air Force Lightning Advanced Targeting Pod. Advanced Aero Concepts, Mike Anderson, CEO. Aviation maintenance, repair, overhaul organization servicing the commercial airline industry. BIA Energy. Alfredo Forte, founder. Anna Rodriguez, founder. And Albert Schulius, founder. World-class petrochemical production facility using best-in-class technology. Ladies and gentlemen, the Elite 10 for 2019. I'll get out of your way if you want to take pictures. Thank you very much. All right. Yeah, let them take a picture. Yeah, they will take one picture. Make sure we got the big one. Okay, at this time I'm going to ask Dr. George to come forward and make just a few special announcements. Some of our portfolio companies from previous years have done some very incredible things. Dr. George?
Yeah, so what I wanted to point out is just recently, I know probably a lot of y'all have heard about AFWorks. AFWorks is the Air Force new innovation awards that they're trying to get entrepreneurs to have a different way to get into the procurement method to help the Air Force, Army, Navy out in a entrepreneurial way to get into the process. And they just had a series of SIVRs, which are Small Business Innovation Research Grants, given. They had 1,300 submissions. 300 grants were given. In Louisiana, there were only 3 given, and 2 of them were EAP companies. So I think that's pretty special. The first one was Paramount. They left. Paramount, and they're going to be doing visual education for this lightning pod they're doing. They got a $50,000 SBIR, and that's fantastic. The other company is one that's not this time, but in a previous company, Oleolive. The CEO, Kylie Grant, and Jim Cardelli are the founders of this company. They just recently got a SBIR grant the same way. They were one of the 2. What's really interesting about Oleolive, they have the only company in Louisiana that has 3 SBIRs. One of them being a $450,000 grant from the NIH. So give them a round of applause. And finally, our Embera Neurotherapeutics, who is probably one of the first companies that we got involved with that came out of LSU. They have recently been working on their $11 million grant, and they're in their last year of that grant. And they've also gotten a grant from the Rose Research Center in North Carolina. It's part of their $25 million research grant from the Foundation of a Smoke-Free World. And so Embera is working on addiction problems in the smoking area and cocaine. And so they are recently into their last round of financing to bring this drug to fruition, and we want to give them a great round of applause. Dave, are you doing the dismissal?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Dr. George, and thank everybody for coming out. That concludes the formal part of our presentation, but before I let you go, how about one more hand of applause for those 10 startups? Thank you very much.